Welcome into the live, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming. This is Trev from Trebescence, and this morning we are going to continue with the reading of Spare by Prince Harry. For those of you who are new here, a very, very special welcome to you. Thank you so much for stopping by. And to all my returning travelers, I want to say thank you for your continued support. Now, yesterday, as we were reading the book, um, Harry and Meghan, Harry, in fact, was trying to negotiate with his family about continuing to receive the security detail. And this is for those of you who are not in the live and who have not listened to the readings. Just a little recap of what happened in yesterday's reading. So Harry had a meeting with his granny, his dad, his uncle, not his uncle, his brother, after they had told the queen that they wanted to step back from royal duties. They never said they wanted to not work for her anymore. They wanted to live outside of London. They wanted someplace safe because it was becoming too serious. There were death threats against them and all of that. So that's what he was asking. But they put a big old spin on it. They put a big spin on the whole thing, and uh, some way, somehow, they were successful in getting Harry to sign some documents to say that they would no longer work for the Queen, so that him and Meghan would no longer have Duke and Duchess duties on behalf of the Queen. And so I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Harry's ungrateful, Harry's this, Harry's that. I got nothing bad to say about Harry. What I got to say to Harry is what I got to say to everybody else. You stand up for you. Stand up for you and stand up for the people you love. Now, if his wife was a white woman, we would not be reading this book today. Prove me wrong. If his wife was an all white woman, we would not be reading this book today because he would have not had to flee his country. He would have not had to have chosen love over hate. He would have still been a part of the institution, and with it being so ingrained in him that he wouldn't even realize that the options that are out there, if he ever had chosen one of them, that this would be the repercussions of that. But because he's married to a woman who is part black, that is where all of this is coming from. I don't care what nobody want to say. But welcome into the live. Family Dahlia in the house, and also my hipster is my right hip is in the place. Hello, Kat, how you doing? How are you doing? Good to see you guys. It's Saturday, and I'm just getting home from work. So we're gonna read just a few chapters before I must retire to bed, guys. But once I start reading this, I sort of get carried away. But anyway, we are going to continue with chapter 77 from part 3. The question was where to live. We considered Canada. By and large, it had been good to us. It had already come to feel like home. We could imagine spending the rest of our lives there. If we could just find the place that the press did not know about, we said, Canada might just be the answer. Meg got in touch with a Vancouver friend who connected us with an estate agent, and we started looking at houses. We were taking first steps, trying to be positive. Doesn't really matter where we live, we said, so long as the palace fulfills its obligation. And what I felt was its implicit promise to keep us safe. Meg asked me one night, you don't think they'd ever pull our security, do you? Never, not in this climate of hate, and not after what happened to my mother. Also, not in the wake of my Uncle Andrew. He was embroiled in a shameful scandal, accused of the sexual assault of a young woman, and no one had so much as suggested that he lose his security. Whatever grievances people had against us, sex crimes weren't on the list. February 2020. I scooped Archie from his nap and took him out to the lawn. It was sunny, cold, and we gazed at the water, touched the dry leaves, collected rocks and twigs. I kissed his chubby little cheeks, tickled him, then glanced down at my phone to see a text from the head of our security team, Lloyd. He needed to see me. I carried Archie across the garden and handed him to Meg, then went across the soggy grass to the cottage where Lloyd and the other bodyguards were staying. We sat on a bench, both of us wearing puffer jackets, waves rolling gently in the background. Lloyd told me that our security was being pulled. He and the whole team had been ordered to evacuate. Surely, they said. Oh, surely they can't. I would tend to agree, but they are. So much for the year of transition. The threat level for us, Lloyd said, was still higher than for that of nearly every other royal, equal to that assigned to the Queen. Oh, wow. And yet, the word had come down, and there was to be no arguing. So here we are, I said, the ultimate nightmare, the worst of all worst case scenarios. Any bad actor in the world would now be able to find us, and it would just be me with a pistol to stop them. Oh, wait, no pistol. I'm in Canada. I rang Pa. He wouldn't take my calls. Just then I got a text from Willie. Can we talk? Great. I was sure my older brother, after our recent walk in the Sandringham Gardens, would be sympathetic. That he'd step up. He said it was a government decision. Nothing could be done. You see how they're wicked? Nothing could be done. Hey, Jojo in the place. Welcome. Jojo, what's up? How are you doing, my love? I hope you had a great night and setting up to have a fantastic Saturday. We're on to chapter 78. Lord was pleading with his superiors at home, trying to get them at least to postpone the date when he and his team pulled out. He showed me the emails. He wrote, "We can't just leave them here." The person at the other end wrote, "The decision has been made. As of March 31st, they are by themselves." I scrambled to find new security. I spoke to consultants, gathered estimates. I filled a notebook with research. The palace directed me to a firm which quoted me a price, $6 million a year. I slowly hung up the phone. Poor Harry. Harry can't afford Harry can't afford $6 million a year fee security. Fee security. So I just slowly hung up the phone. Oh my God. Yes. Oh, it's snowing up there. Oh, enjoy it. Enjoy it, my love. Let us continue. In the midst of all this darkness came the horrible news that my old friend Caroline Flack had taken her life. She couldn't stand it anymore, apparently. The relentless abuse at the hands of the press, year after year, had finally broken her. I felt so awful for her family. I remembered how they had all suffered for her mortal sin of going out with me. She had been so light and funny that night we met, the definition of carefree. It would have been impossible then to imagine this outcome. I told myself it was an important reminder. I wasn't being overdramatic. I wasn't warning about I wasn't warning about things that would never happen. What Meg and I were dealing with was indeed a question of life and death, and time was running out. In March of 2020, the World Health Organization declared a global pandemic, and Canada began to discuss the possibility of closing its borders. But Meg had zero doubt. They are definitely going to close those borders, so we need to figure out somewhere else to go and get there. Chapter 79. Guys, we're almost done with the book, you know. We are at 95% of the book. I feel like more finished reading the book today. But I'm not going to. I'm not going to yield to that temptation. Chapter 79. We were having a chat with Tyler Perry, the actor, writer, director. He had sent a note to Meg before the wedding, out of the blue, telling her that she wasn't alone, that he saw what was happening. Now, FaceTiming with him, Meg and I were trying to put on a brave face, but we were both a mess. Tyler saw. He asked what was up. We gave him the highlights: the loss of security, the borders closing, nowhere to turn. Wow. Okay, that's a lot. But just breathe. Breathe. Just breathe. That was the problem. We couldn't breathe. Look, take my house. What? My house in Los Angeles. It's gated. It's secure. You'll be safe there. I'll keep you safe. He was traveling, he explained, working on a project, so the house was empty, waiting for us. It was too much, too generous, but we accepted eagerly. I asked why he was doing this. My mother, my mother loved your mother. I was caught completely by surprise. He said, after your mother visited Harlem, that was it. She could do no wrong in Maxine Perry's book. He went on to say that his mother had died 10 years earlier and he was still grieving. I wanted to tell him it gets easier. I didn't. I don't know if there's another book as sweet as this. Oh my God. Oh my God. I love this book. Welcome, guys. Thank you so, so, so much. You know, sometimes I get ahead of myself and get a little childish in this book here. I just, guys, honestly, I love reading. That's why plenty things we need for do not get them not come it always in a book. Anyway, let us continue. Chapter 80. Welcome into the live, guys. You've not yet hit the like button. Hit the like button. Share what this stream. Invite your friends and your friends to come on over and listen to me read the book Spare, written by Prince Harry. We are very close to the end of this book. We are on to chapter 80 of part 3. Courtian is in the place. Hey, Courtian, how are you doing, my love? Welcome. Thank you so much. So much. You are so loyal. I love it. Love you. Love you. Dear. Thank you so much. Let us continue. The house was Xanadu. High ceilings, priceless art, beautiful swimming pool, palatial, but above all, ultra safe. Better yet, it came with security, paid for by Tyler. We spent those last days of March 2020 exploring, unpacking, trying to get our bearings. Halls, wardrobes, bedrooms, there seemed no end to spaces to discover and niches for Archie to hide. Meg introduced him to everything. Look at that statue. Look at that fountain. Look at these hummingbirds in the garden. In the front hall was a painting he found especially interesting. He started every day locked onto it, a scene from ancient Rome. We asked each other why, but we had no clue. Within a week, Tyler's house felt like home. Archie took his first steps in the garden a couple of months later. At the height of the global pandemic lockdown, we clapped, hugged him, cheered. I thought for a moment how nice it would be to share the news with Grandpa or Uncle Willie. Not long after those first steps, Archie went marching up to his favorite painting in the front hall. He stared at it, made a gurgle of recognition. Meg leaned in for a closer look. She noticed, for the first time, a nameplate on the frame. Goddess of the Hunt, Diana. When we told Tyler, he said he hadn't known. He had forgotten the painting was even there. He said, gives me chills. Us too. Hey, guys. We saw. What? Me say win some. Yes, win some, win some, win some. I reach home. Me go on the back. Me plant 10 root of strawberry. Yes, me plant 10 roots of strawberries because I'd ordered the strawberry plants online. And when I got home, well, before I got home, they were sitting on the porch. I could see them sitting there on the porch since I think since Monday. They were sitting on the porch. So I couldn't wait to get home. And I got home, got run back, put some dirt in some pots and planted them. Yeah, but me never video it. I video it, but I will show you all the video afterwards. Anyway, and then I went in, got myself together and went to work. And I've been working all night. So now here I am. I'm all yours, guys. We are going to continue reading. We are on to chapter 81 of part 3. Late at night, with everyone asleep, I'd walk the house, checking the doors and windows. Then I'd sit on the balcony or the edge of the garden and roll a joint. The house looked down into a valley, across a hillside thick with frogs. I'd listen to their late night song, smell the flower-scented air, the frogs, the smells, the trees, the big starry sky. It all brought me back to Botswana. But maybe it's not just the flora and fauna, I thought. Maybe it's more the feeling of safety, of life. What Joseph say? You don't get snow where you are. Yes, we do get snow, but we didn't get any when I wasn't here the weekend when there was a little bit of snow. That was over, I forget which weekend it was, but one weekend passed, there was a lot of snow, and when I came back, it had blown in on the porch and it killed all of my aloe vera them and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I get snow. But not much. It's like I live like right in the middle of very snowy and very hot. During the winters it can get cold sometimes, and during the summers it can be wretchedly hot sometimes. But that's North Carolina for you. Let us continue. Welcome into the live, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming. Let us continue. We were able to get a lot of work done, and we had a lot of work to do. We launched a foundation. I reconnected with my contacts in world conservation. Things were getting under control, and then the press somehow learned we were at Tyler's. It had taken 6 weeks exactly, same as Canada. Suddenly, there were drones overhead, paps across the street, paps across the valley. They cut the fence. We patched the fence. They cut it again. We patched it again. We stopped venturing outside. The garden was a full view of the paps. Next came the helicopters. Sadly, we were going to have to flee. We'd need to find somewhere new and soon, and that would mean paying for our own security. I went back to my notebooks, started contacting security firms again. Meg and I sat down to work out exactly how much security we could afford and how much house. Exactly then, while we were revising our budget, word came down. Pa was cutting me off. I recognized the absurdity. A man in his mid-30s being financially cut off by his father. But Pa wasn't merely my father. He was my boss, my banker, my comptroller, keeper of the purse strings throughout my adult life. Cutting me off, therefore, meant firing me without redundancy pay and casting me into the void after a lifetime of service. More, after a lifetime of rendering me otherwise unemployable. I felt fatted by the slaughter, suckled like a veiled calf. I'd never asked to be financially dependent on Pa. I'd been forced into this surreal state, this unending Truman Show, in which I almost never carried money, never owned a car, never carried a house key, Never once ordered anything online. Never received a single box from Amazon. Almost never traveled on the underground. Once at Eton on a theater trip, Sponge the Papers called me. But there's a big difference between being a sponge and being prohibited from learning independence. After decades of being rigorously and systematically infantilized, I was now abruptly abandoned and mocked for being immature, for not standing on my own 2 feet. The question of how to pay for a home and security kept Meg and me awake at nights. We could always spend some of my inheritance from Mummy, we said, but that felt like a last resort. We saw that money as belonging to Archie and his sibling. It was then that we learned Meg was pregnant again. But no, so they're not gonna do something in a Tyler Perry house, you know. I never did think so. Men from here I'm a talk about the house. Me know them was not going to make it pass by and don't do something. Them should have named Lilibet after Tyler. Yeah, over there them do it. Oh, oh my gosh, what a problem them have. Exactly. You see rich people problem. The fact that the painting was there. I mean, the painting was there and with the Dan on it. I mean, it's strange that the little kid was maybe his grandmother was talking to him through the painting. You never know. Maybe he was. Maybe he was. He was talking to his grandmother. Maybe she was there in the painting. You never know. Because I remember when my first son was a baby. He was like a year old. He first started saying he first started saying hi to a policeman. And he at that time had no idea that my dad was a policeman. But he kept saying hi to a policeman. And you'd ask him, Prince, who is that? Who are you saying hi to? He would say, the policeman, policeman. And nobody else could ever see that policeman. But we knew my dad was a policeman. But he apparently Prince was able to see him since he was a baby. I mean, the spirits exist. And when these things happen, we don't even know what to believe or what to think. I tell you. But Meg was pregnant again. And I tell you, me can't understand. See, can't say what a wicked set of people. Exactly. That is so cruel. You see? You see? Harry never had a car key, never had a house key, never ordered anything online. There's so many things because his life was not normal. Because it's not normal for you not to be able, you're in your 30s and your dad determines how much money you get and when you get it and how you spend it and all of that. And look at this, to just cut him off like that because he chose love. I mean, the people them wicked. Me say, somebody sent me one something this morning and said, for Charles's coronation in May, he had invited a lot of A-listers and a lot of people had declined to go. Nobody enough to go. Make him and Camilla turn up today. The two of them favor two ranking camel. Not even, oh Lord, forgive me. Anyway, sure, baby, baby yourself. All right, let us continue. Now make me lose myself. Because I might not find it again, Lord indeed. Let's continue, guys. Welcome into the live, guys. Don't forget, like, but Joseph says, why not when you are in glory land? After all, chapter 82, my friends. We found a place, priced at a steep discount, just up the coast, outside Santa Barbara. Lots of rooms, large gardens, a climbing frame, even a pond with core carp. The koi were stressed. The estate agent warned. So are we. We'll all get along famously. No, the agent explained. The koi need very particular care. You'll need to hire a core guy. Guy, those koi, those fish, they are nice and pretty, but they need very, very meticulous care. You can't just dash anything in the pan, give them to eat. They will all die. They're very expensive. Uh-oh. And where does one find a koi guy? The agent wasn't sure. We laughed. First world problems. We took a tour. The place was a dream. We asked Tyler to look at it too, and he said, buy it. So we pulled together a down payment, took out a mortgage, and in July 2020, we moved in. The move itself required only a couple of hours. Everything we owned fitted into 13 suitcases. That first night, we had a quiet drink in celebration, roasted a chicken, went to bed early. All was well, we said, and yet Meg was still under loads of stress. There was a pressing issue. There was a pressing issue with her legal case against the tabloids. The Mail was up to its usual tricks. Their first crack at offering a defense had been patently ridiculous. So now they were trying a new defense, which was even more ridiculous. They were arguing that they had printed Meg's letter to her father because of a story in People magazine, which quoted a handful of Meghan's friends anonymously. The tabloids argued that Meghan orchestrated these quotes, used her friends as de facto spokespeople, and thus the Mail had every right to publish her letter to her father. More, they now wanted the names of Meg's previously anonymous friends. Read into the official court record to destroy them. Meg was determined to do everything in her power to prevent that. She had been staying up late, night after night, trying to work out how to save these people. And now, on our first morning in the new house, she reported abdominal pains and bleeding. Oh, that AG in the place, AG, what up? Oh, yes, he was thrown to the wolves. And poor thing, he wasn't raised with all the life skills. But oh my God, thank God he found Meghan. Because if it was somebody else who didn't have any money of their own, he would have fought. I'm not laughing after you, Harry. But oh my God, what a pitiful circumstance you find yourself in. I'm so sorry, Harry. You know there is nothing good about them people. Do I really don't like to hear it? You know it's true, Joseph. Them is a wicked. But who is surprised? I am not surprised. Look what they did to us, our ancestors. Look what they did to our ancestors. You put chain around people neck, chain them upside down to make sure say you use up every inch of your boat. You chain the people them upside down, standing on each other's shoulders or head on top of head, and tie them up with big chain and take them cross the sea, cross the open sea, and carry them to a land they don't know. Then you rob them of them culture, then culinary culture, then dress culture. You rob them then language culture. You rob them of their culture. You instilled in them that the culture they had from generations on top of generations, it was absolutely no good. Your hair, look at your hair. Your hair is all nappy. Why do you talk like that? You know, they convinced us that our black skin, that the color of our skin was to be hated. And that is where the self-hatred amongst us came from. Because we saw how they treated white people and we wanted to be treated like that. And then we started the mixing, and then you got the lighter shades of chocolate. And we see how the people with the lighter shades of chocolate were treated. And so the people with the darkest shade of chocolate, now they introduce them to bleaching. Now you can bleach to accumulate, to acquire this color, and this color will be what will help you to be seen, to be recognized, to give you a stance in society. And so many people fell for it and are still falling for it today. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So if and you see how they did their own. That are them own pitney, their own brother, their own grand pitney, you know. And if them could have treat him so, we didn't expect any better. Mm-mm. What a shame. But let us continue, my loving people, my darling people. Then she collapsed to the floor. We raced to the local hospital. When the doctor walked into the room, I didn't hear one word she said. I just watched her face, her body language. I already knew. We both did. There had been so much blood. Still, hearing the words was a blow. Meg grabbed me. I held her. We both wept. In my life, I felt totally helpless only 4 times. In the back of the car, while Mommy and Willie and I were being chased by Paps. In the Apache above Afghanistan, unable to get clearance to do my duty. At Nutcott, when my pregnant wife was planning to take her life. And now, we left the hospital with our unborn child, a tiny package. We went to a secret place only we knew. Under a spreading banyan tree, while Megan wept, I dug a hole with my hands and set the tiny package softly in the ground. Oh my! Oh, she had a miscarriage. And he's not going to tell us where it is, you know. But he don't have to tell us because we don't have to know. He dug a hole and put the little baby. Oh, put the little fetus in there. Oh boy. Then you want to know why we are prone to high blood pressure. Yes, all the stress what them give with ancestors. Oh my God. We are now on to chapter 83, my friends. 5 months later, Christmas of 2020. We took Archie to find a Christmas tree, a pop-up lot in Santa Barbara. We bought one of the biggest spruces they had. We brought it home, set it up in the living room. Magnificent. We stood back, admiring, counting our blessings. New home, healthy boy. Plus, we had signed several corporate partnerships, which would give us the chance to resume our work. To spotlight the causes we cared about, to tell the stories we felt were vital, and to pay for our security. It was Christmas Eve. We FaceTimed with several friends, including a few in Britain. We watched Archie running around the tree, and we opened presents, keeping to the Windsor family tradition. One present was a little Christmas ornament of the Queen. I roared. What the? Meg had spotted it in a local store and thought I might like it. I held it to the light. It was Granny's face to a T. I hung it on an eye-level branch. It made me happy to see her there. It made Meg and me smile. But then Archie, playing around the tree, jostled the stand, shook the tree, and Granny fell. I heard a smash and turn. Pieces lay all over the floor. Archie ran and grabbed the spray bottle. For some reason, he thought spraying water on the broken pieces would fix it. Meg said, "No, Archie, no, do not spray gang gang." I grabbed the dustpan and swept up the pieces, all the while thinking, this is weird. I don't know, the things happen sometimes very strangely. See how them a treat Archie with indifference. And the powers that be make him knock over the sitting and Brookie. Brookie up, yes. Broke it up, yes. Yeah, why not? Hey, the powers that be. And maybe all in grandmother Diana make it drop off there and broke up. Like she don't belong in here. I know it's your grandmother and you love her, but she don't belong in here. Look what she's doing to you. Hey, would laugh every morning. People, well, you know, something I come here every morning, no matter what, every morning, no matter what. Me come in. Oh, that's why Joseph type in the chat. Joseph, you are something else. But anyway, let us continue. We are on to chapter 84 of part 3. Let's move on. The palace announced that a review had been conducted of our roles and of the agreement reached in Sandringham. Henceforth, we were stripped of everything but a few patronages. February of 2021. They took it all away, I thought, even my military associations. I'd no longer be Captain General of the Royal Marines, a title handed down by my grandfather. I'd no longer be permitted to wear my ceremonial military uniform. I told myself they could never take away my real uniform or my real military status. But still. Furthermore, the statement continued, we'd no longer be doing any service whatsoever for the Queen. They made it sound as if there had been an argument between us. There was nothing of the sort. We pushed back in our own statement, released the same day, saying we had never ceased living a life of service. This new slap down from the palace was like petrol on a bonfire. We had been under media attack non-stop since leaving, but this official severing of ties set off a new wave, which felt different. We were vilified every day, every hour on social media, and found ourselves the subjects of scurrilous, wholly fictional stories in the newspapers, stories always attributed to royal aides or royal insiders or palace sources, stories clearly spoon-fed by palace staff and presumably sanctioned by my own family. I didn't read any of it, seldom even heard about it. I was now avoiding the internet as I once avoided downtown Gomsha. I kept my phone on silent, not even vibrate. Sometimes a well-meaning friend would text, gosh, sorry about such and such. We had to ask such friends, all friends, to stop informing us what they had read. In all honesty, I hadn't been totally surprised when the palace cut ties. I'd had a sneak preview months earlier, just before Remembrance Day. I'd asked the palace if someone could lay a wreath for me at the cenotaph, since, of course, I couldn't be there. Request denied. In that case, I said, could a wreath be laid somewhere else in Britain on my behalf? Request denied. In that case, I said, perhaps a wreath could be laid somewhere in the Commonwealth, anywhere at all, on my behalf. Request denied. Nowhere in the world would any proxy be permitted to lay any sort of wreath at any military grave on behalf of Prince Harry, I was told. I pleaded that this would be the first time I'd let a Remembrance Day pass without paying tribute to the fallen, some of whom had been dear friends. Request denied. In the end, I rang one of my old instructors at Sandhurst and asked him to lay my wreath for me. He suggested the Iraq and Afghanistan Memorial in London, which had just been unveiled a few years earlier. By Granny. Yes, that's perfect. Thank you. He said it would be his honor, then added, and by, Captain Wales, fuck this. It's proper wrong. It is. It is. You don't treat somebody like that. Oh, come on. And these are the people around left them dinner upon fire. Around if you go see Charles and Charles' coronation. And around I talk about run Ghana Queen funeral and go shed tears and want a slapping on her head, but no go shed tears. And smash up. Ay, that is so true. My God. Jehovah Jireh to the Lamb. Who treat somebody like that? And what they hate him for? because he married the woman he loved, the woman he loves. And that is his only sin, that is his only transgression, was to marry the woman that they didn't want in the family. My oh my. All right, so we are on to, this is the last chapter we're going to read today. Let me see how many chapters are left. 85, 86, 87. Oh, and then the epilogue. Uh-oh, the book nearly done, people. Uh-oh, the book. Watch her. Oh, no, no, ramp with me now. Oh, my Jehovah God. Look at this. Oh, my people. Look here. I'm not finished reading the book. You, I was scanning the pages and then Kindle. I scanned the pages to the back and then Kindle messed with my book. Hold on, the people. Let me find back my book here. Come on, Kindle. Quit doing that. Oh, my God. Don't tell me I can't go to the back of the book before I get to the back of the book. Anywho, we are on to chapter 85. And this is going to be the last chapter for today. And then tomorrow we will continue. Chapter 85 of part 3. I wasn't sure what to call her or what exactly she did. All I knew was that she claimed to have powers. I recognized the high percentage chance of hamburgery, but the woman came with strong recommendations from trusted friends. So I asked myself, what's the harm? Then the minute we sat down together, I felt an energy around her. Oh, I thought, wow, there's something here. She felt an energy around me too, she said. Your mother is with you. I know, I felt that of late, she said. No, she's with you right now. I felt my neck grow warm, my eyes watering. Your mother knows you're looking for clarity. Your mother feels your confusion. She knows that you have so many questions. I do. The answers will come in time, one day in the future. Have patience. Patience? The word caught me in my throat. In the meantime, the woman said, my mother was very proud of me and fully supportive. She knew it wasn't easy. What wasn't? Your mother says you are living the life she couldn't. You are living the life she wanted for you. I swallowed. I wanted to believe. I wanted every word this woman was saying to be true. But I needed proof, a sign, anything. Your mother says the ornament. Kuya, the ornament. Same thing we say maybe a day, not only ornament. Your mother says the ornament. Ornament? She was there. Where? Your mother said something about a Christmas ornament of a mother or a grandmother. It fell, broke. Archie tried to fix it. Your mother says she had a bit of a giggle about that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, guys. The same thing I had said. You know that thing, so me read the book to the end already, but I just figured that would have been that would have really tickled Diana. It would have tickled me too, to know that the ornament of Granny fell and broke. Cartier says, when God is with you, who can be against you? That part right there, my love. So so now I have to move on to chapter 86, guys. Look at me, cannot stop. Frogmore Gardens. I was after Grandpa's funeral. I'd been walking with Willie and Pa for about half an hour, but it felt like one of those days long marches the army put me through when I was a new soldier. I was beat. We had reached an impasse, and we had reached the Gothic ruin. After a circuitous route, we had arrived back where we begun. Pa and Willie were still claiming not to know why I'd fled Britain, still claiming not to know anything, and I was getting ready to walk away. Then one of them brought up the press. They asked about my hacking lawsuit. They still hadn't asked about Meg, but they were keen to know how my lawsuit was going, because that directly affected them. Still ongoing. Suicide mission, Pa mumbled. Maybe, but it's worth it. I'd soon prove that the press were more than liars, I said, that they were lawbreakers. I was going to see some of them thrown into jail. That was why they were attacking me so viciously. They knew I had hard evidence. It wasn't about me. It was a matter of public interest. Shaking his head, Pa allowed that journalist. Pa allowed that journalists were the scum of the earth. His phrase, but he just saying that. I snorted. There was always a bit with him when it came to the press, because he hated their hate, but on how he loved their love. One could make the argument that therein lay the seeds of the whole problem, indeed, all problems, going back decades. Deprived of love as a boy, bullied by schoolmates, he was dangerously, compulsively drawn to the elixir they offered him. He cited Grandpa as a sterling example of why the press wasn't anything to get too vexed about. Poor Grandpa had been abused by the papers for most of his life. But now look, he was a national treasure. The papers couldn't say enough good things about the man. So that's it then. Just wait till we are dead and all will be sorted. If you could just endure it, darling boy, for a little while longer, in a funny way, they'll respect you for it. Like, seriously? So he must endure the harassment and the shame and the hatred, because when he dies, it's all going to be better. Oh, what kind of tomfoolery is Jesus? All I'm saying is, don't take it personally. Speaking of taking things personally, I told them I might learn to endure the press and even forgive their abuse. I might, but my own family's complicity, that was going to take longer to get over. Pa's office, Willie's office, enabling these fiends, if not outrightly collaborating. Meg was apparently a bully. That was the latest vicious campaign they had helped orchestrate. It was so shocking, so egregious, that even after Meg and I demolished their lie with a 25-page evidence-filled report to Human Resources, I was going to have trouble simply shrugging that one off. Pa stepped back. Willie shook his head. They began talking over each other. We have been down this road 100 times, they said. You are delusional, Harry. But they were the delusional ones. Even if, for the sake of argument, I accepted that Pa and Willie and their staff had never done one overt thing against me or my wife, their silence was an undeniable fact. And that silence was damning and continuing and heart-rending. Pa said, you must understand, darling boy, the institution can't just tell the media what to do. Again, I yelped with laughter. Okay, here we are. Are you all hearing me now, guys? I had to. Why are we echoing? We shouldn't be echoing. All right. I don't know if you all are hearing me, but the live does say that it is still running. So we are going to continue with the reading. I don't know where it I don't remember where it broke off. But I'm going to start reading from one of the previous paragraphs so that we can catch on. All I'm saying is don't take it personally. Speaking of taking things personally, I told them I might learn to endure the press and even forgive their abuse. I might, but my own family's complicity, that was going to take longer to get over. Pa's office, Willie's office, enabling these fiends, if not outright collaborating. Meg was apparently a bully. That was the latest vicious campaign they had helped orchestrate. It was so shocking, so egregious that even after Meg and I demolished their lie with a 25-page evidence filled report to Human Resources, I was going to have trouble simply shrugging that one off. Pa stepped back. Pa stepped back. Willie shook his head. They began talking over each other. We have been down this road 100 times, they said. You are delusional, Harry. And they were the ones who were delusional. Even if, for the sake of argument, I accepted that Pa and Willie and their staff had never done one overt thing against me or my wife, their silence was an undeniable fact. And that silence was damning and continuing and heartrending. Pa said, you must understand, darling boy, the institution can't just tell the media what to do. Again, I yelped with laughter. It was like Pa saying he couldn't just tell his valet what to do. Willie said I was a fine one to talk about cooperating with the press. What about my chat with Oprah? A month earlier, Meg and I had done an interview with Oprah Winfrey. Days before it aired, those Meg is a bully stories started popping up in the papers. What a coincidence! Since leaving Britain, the attacks on us had been increasingly exponential. We had to try something to make it stop. Being silent wasn't working, it was only making it worse. We felt we had no choice. Several close mates and beloved figures in my life, including one of you and Emily's sons, Emily herself, and even Tiggy, had chastised me for Oprah. How could you reveal such things? They said. About your family. I told them that I failed to see how speaking to Oprah was any different from what my family and their staffs had done for decades, briefing the press on the sly, planting stories. And what about the endless books on which they had cooperated? Starting with Pa's 1994 crypto autobiography with Jonathan Dimbley, or Camilla's collaborations with the editor Gorgie Gregg. The only difference was that Meg and I were upfront about it. We chose an interviewer who was above reproach. And we didn't once hide behind phrases like palace sources. We let people see the words coming out of our mouths. I looked at the Gothic ruin. What's the point? I thought. Pa and Willie weren't hearing me, and I wasn't hearing them. They'd never had a satisfactory explanation for their actions and inactions, and never would, because there was no explanation. I started to say goodbye. Good luck. Take care. But Willie was really steaming, shouting that if things were as bad as I made out, then it was my fault for never asking for help. Lord Jesus, them narcissistic man. Them narcissistic, they can twist things really well. You never came to us. You never came to me. Since boyhood, that had been Willie's position on everything. I must come to him, pointedly, directly, formally, bend the knee. Otherwise, no aid from the hair. I wondered why I should have to ask my brother to help when my wife and I were in peril. If we were being mauled by a bear and he saw, would he wait for us to ask for help? I mentioned the Sandringham Agreement. I'd asked for his help about that when the agreement was violated, shredded, when we were stripped of everything, and he hadn't lifted a finger. That was Granny. Take it up with her. I waved a hand, disgusted, but he lunged, grabbed my shirt. Listen to me, Harold. I pulled away, refused to meet his gaze. He forced me to look into his eyes. Listen to me, Harold. Listen. I love you, Harold. I love you. I want you to be happy. The words flew out of his mouth. I love you too, but your stubbornness is extraordinary. And yours isn't? I pulled away again. He grabbed me again, twisted me to maintain eye contact. Harold, you must listen to me. I just want you to be happy, Harold. I swear on Mommy's life. He stopped. I stopped. Pa stopped. He had gone there. He had used the secret code, the universal password. Ever since we were boys, those three words were to be used only in times of extreme crisis. On Mommy's life? For nearly 25 years, we had reserved that soul-crushing vow for times when one of us needed to be heard, to be believed quickly, for times when nothing else would do. It stopped me cold, as it was meant to, not because he had used it, but because it didn't work. I simply didn't believe him, didn't fully trust him, and vice versa. He saw it too. He saw that we were in a place of such hurt and doubt that even those sacred words couldn't set us free. How lost we are, I thought, how far we have strayed, how much damage has been done to our love, our bond, and why? All because a dreadful mob of dweebs and crones and cutthroat criminals and clinically diagnosed sadists along Fleet Street feel the need to get their jollies and plump their profits and work out their personal issues by tormenting one very large, very ancient, and very dysfunctional family. Willie wasn't quite ready to accept defeat. I felt properly sick and ill after everything that happened, and and I swear to you now on Mommy's life that I just want you to be happy. My voice broke as I told him softly, I really don't think you do. My mind suddenly flooded with memories of our relationship, but one in particular was crystalline. Willie and I, years before in Spain, a beautiful valley, the air glittering with the uncommonly clear Mediterranean light. The two of us kneeling behind the green canvas wall as the first hunting horns sounded, lowering our flat caps as the first partridges burst towards us. Bang, 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 bang. A few falling, handing our guns to the loaders, who handed us new ones. Bang, bang, and more bang, bang, more falling, passing our guns back, our shirts darkening with sweat, the ground filling with birds that would feed nearby villages for weeks. Bang! One last shot. Neither of us able to miss. Then, standing at last, drenched, starved, happy because we were young and together, and this was our place, our one true space, away from them and close to nature. It was such a transcendent moment that we turned and did that rarest thing. We hugged, rarely hugged. But now I saw that even our finest moments and my best memories somehow involved death. Our lives were built on death, our brightest days shadowed by it. Looking back, I didn't see spots of time, but dances with death. I saw how we steeped ourselves in it. We christened and crowned, graduated and married, passed out and passed over our beloved bones. Windsor Castle itself was a tomb, the walls filled with ancestors. The Tower of London was held together with the blood of animals, used by the original builders 1,000 years ago to temper the mortar between the bricks. Outsiders called us a cult, but maybe we were a death cult. And wasn't that a thing? And wasn't that a little bit more depraved? Even after laying Grandpa to rest, had we not had our fill? Why were we here, lurking along the edge of that undiscovered country from whose bourne no travelers returns? Though maybe that's a more apt description of America. Willie was still talking. Pa was talking over him, and I could no longer hear a word they said. I was already gone, already on my way to California. A voice in my head saying, enough death, enough. When is someone in this family going to break free and live? Ah, gosh, guys. Guys, that's going to be it for today. That's going to be it for today. That's the end of chapter 86 of part 3 of the book Spare, written by Prince Harry. A wonderful read, guys. This book has been a wonderful read. We have just like a few more chapters to go before the epilogue, and then this book will be finished. So I guess we're going to be finishing it tomorrow morning for sure. We will be finishing this book tomorrow morning. I enjoyed this book immensely. I enjoyed the words, the way he takes us to the places he's talking about, the the, the emotions, the changes of emotions that just kept sweeping over us throughout the entire book. I enjoyed, and I see Harry have some more books, and I'm wondering if I should buy another, but I don't know yet, guys. But you all are welcome to suggest a book for me to read. Or I could show you a few books that I have and you all pick one for me to read. I appreciate you guys coming in and listening to the reading of the book Spare. I see my friend Paulette in the chat. Good morning, Paulette. How are you doing? Hope you are having a great, great, great morning. Thank you for reading. Love, you are excited and I love you for it. Thank you so much for being here, my love. Thank you so much, my love. Fan of Meghan before she married Prince Harry. Love them both. Oh my God. Love the book when it ends. Oh my gosh. I thank you so much, Paulette, for being here. Thank you so much. Honestly speaking, guys. Me never did know about Meghan until Meghan and Harry get up together. Me never watch Suits. Me never know this something. I don't know if I watch TV, so I don't have a clue. I did not have a clue. But believe me, it's always refreshing to see them in my eyes. Yeah, I don't go head over heels in love with them, but it's interesting to see them. Why you say one more Harry book? One more Harry book? We will see. We will see. Because if he has any other book that is as interesting as this one, I want to read it. We have to go get one book club, guys. Look like, but I don't know who else is here who reads like me, who likes to read like me, or do you want me to do the reading and y'all do the listening? In that case, I'm not gonna pay me. In that case, I'm not gonna pay me. But it's my absolute pleasure, my friends. I sincerely appreciate y'all coming in and listening, and I enjoy reading this book for us, and I hope you all enjoy listening to it as well. Well, that's going to be it for today, my friends, as I go off to sleep. When we come back tomorrow, we will be finishing the reading of The Book Spare by Prince Harry. If you are here right now and you have not yet hit that like button and have not yet subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. If you are a returning traveler, you know the love is real. I want to thank you for your continued support. And to all the silent listeners who stay out and listen but never subscribe, never hit the like button, and never said a word, you all are also the real OGs. I sincerely appreciate you as well. Thanks again, my friends. That's going to be it for today. Until next time, this is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters. Talk to you later, guys. Kenzie, what's up?